Hey, and welcome to episode 17, Property Mastermind podcast with Hilary Sexton, talking today about, are you struggling on your property development journey? So today I'm going to be talking about the things that slow us down and stop us and how we can overcome those. So let's jump right in. Hey, and welcome to episode 17, Property Mastermind podcast with Hilary Sexton. Are you struggling with your property development journey, or are you struggling on your property development journey? Before we get started, as usual, give away a copy of this book, Secrets of Property Millionaires Exposed. Bob's written a chapter. The cool thing about this book, it goes through the many different types of property strategies, and each of these people that have been successful in property write the reason they believe or what they like about their strategy. A great read. So if you'd like a copy of this, remember to comment favourably on our YouTube channel, send me an email with your address and we'll get one in the post to you, or you can do the same with Apple Podcasts. So comment on the Apple podcast and then just send me your email address and you could be the lucky winner. But this week's lucky winner is Mary Brownell. Mary, one of these will be in the post to you probably this afternoon. Okay, so property development struggling. You're not getting there. First of all, I'll give you a little bit of credibility around my area of expertise to be able to talk about this. Well, number one, I work in the property mastermind. I work within the property mastermind business and I coach now 100% people in property development, and started off just with health and fitness coaching, then went into business coaching and now property coaching. I've just kind of polished my craft, as you can imagine, and always add to my bow many different training styles and techniques. So I spent an awful lot of money on my training, but like investing in myself, and have absolutely learned how to get people from where they are to where they want to go. So the people I work with now, I can take them from a journey from where they're stuck point, to getting them to take action. It doesn't matter who, the age, race, has nothing to do with it. Size, intellectual level. Everybody struggles in some way with something. So my area of expertise is to get people to take action on the things that they want to do. Now, using property development, because my knowledge in property development is out the door. I'm heavily involved in property development now, with Bob Anderson. And so I kind of can parcel that together. So that's my area of expertise. And so today, really going to be talking about self-belief and how you can increase your level of self-belief, because that is something that really holds many people back. I'm going to go back to June this year when we held the last live. Oh no, we had a live workshop after that, but we had a workshop in Sydney. I alluded to this at another podcast, and the reason I did that is because it was such a wake up call to me. I asked everybody who was at the workshop, and remember, Bob's workshops are filled with people who have done his course and are doing incredibly well within the property arena. People come back to them over and over. That gives them a feeling of being re-energized. He also always adds new content, and the people that come like to touch base with each other. So we have people that have been, 7, 8, 9 times. They just keep coming back. What was interesting in that room, there were some people that were doing some pretty amazing stuff, and there were absolute beginners. I asked everybody in the room to write down a couple of words of, how their journey was, how they were feeling stuck right now. And then the thing is with that, they got to fold it in half. They didn't have to put their name on it, because sometimes owning things out loud up front can be a little bit confronting, and not everyone wants everyone else to know that they're struggling in some way. It was an overwhelming response of people saying, I wish I had more self-belief. I just doubt myself. And I thought, wow, it was just mind-blowing for me to have that. It was after I'd given a talk on, believing in yourself to take action to improve where you are. But I think that really resonated, and it got people to be honest with themselves. And I brought all those pieces of paper home and I opened them out, and it would have been 75% of people in that room wrote that down. So it's something that many people struggle with, and they struggle in different ways. So, there were different levels, as I said, and from beginners to very experienced, but that was the overwhelming response. So after the workshops, sometimes people will book in a call to have a chat with us about where they are on their journey, or how we might help them, or whether they want to work further with us, or just, that they connect within the community. There's lots of reasons that we can have a call with people afterwards. But what I hear afterward is very soon that enthusiasm that they had at the workshop has been depleted. It so quickly goes away. The reason that this happens is we so quickly go back into our old habits. So we want to do something new and we're excited and invigorated about doing something, so that, you leave a workshop really wanting to do a property development and excited about it, but you just go back to waking up the next day doing the same things over and over. And I'm going to cover habits a little bit, further on into the podcast, because that's something that if we set our habits up well and right, it can make a big difference to how the outcomes that we're getting. So people don't believe in themselves and they don't back themselves. And often it's the fear of the unknowing, the unknown, like, what do I do? How do I do it? What's my next step? What is my first step? I had a call a month ago from a guy who said to me, I just did a property development course. It wasn't ours. It was the same price as ours. I don't know why he wouldn't have chosen Bob over somebody with less experience, but he did the full course. And I think it even started with a face-to-face initially, and then the rest of it was online. He said he finished it and he rang us and said, I don't know what to do. And I said, well, you've just done a course. Anyway, at the end of it, he decided to do our course. Within 2 weeks of doing our course, he's 2 weeks into it. So he's not even a quarter of the way in. He said to me he was around a quarter of the way in. He rang and said, wow, I know more already. So that was for him, the need to have knowledge. And for all of us, when it comes to property development, it's vital that we have the right knowledge. Sometimes you get what you pay for. And Bob always says to me, cost is what you pay and value is what you get. I mean, I know that now. He's knowing that has got amazing value. But it's really important that we have a level of knowledge, because if you are feeling a deep level of knowledge, because if you are feeling like you're not taking action and it's coming from a level of self-belief, I don't quite think I can do that, or I don't know where to start. Very often it is because your knowledge level isn't high enough. So you need to increase that to know the next step. You don't have to know the whole lot. You just need to, it's good to have an overview of the whole lot, but you do need to know what your next step is. Now, the other problem that can affect our self-belief is that fear of failure. Failing hurts. Wow, failing really hurts. And failing financially is it's a pain, but just failure itself is a pain. I have failed at one business. I've started 6 businesses and 5 have been successful, but I had a failure, and wow, that really hurt me. It took a few years for me to get over it. I couldn't even talk about it. It was just like, I can talk about it now, but wow, it was heavy on me. And I think that, when you understand the impact of if you've had a failure and then trying to move forward in life or move forward on your next journey, but you've already failed at something else, there will be that level of disbelief of, that you can't do this happening within you. Neuroscience tells us that where you feel physical pain in the brain is exactly the same place, easy for me to say, that you feel emotional pain. So what that means is, like how I can explain that. Say you walked into a room, or you had to walk on stage in front of a crowd, and you tripped going up the stairs and you broke your leg. You would have physical pain from that. Breaking your leg hurts. But you would forget that physical pain. What you will never forget is the emotional embarrassment that you felt that stays with you way longer. And so brain scans show that those two places in the brain show up at the same place. So there is a far bigger impact on like physical, emotional pain than there is on physical pain. So if you don't believe in yourself because you've already had a failure somewhere, and it doesn't necessarily have to be with the same topic, maybe it wasn't in property development, maybe it was with another business. In some ways, I'm always quite grateful that I've had, a negative experience, because I've learned so much from that. Wow, did I learn so much about what I could have, should have, and didn't do, and, what I need to take responsibility for. Because, immediately after you've had a failure, it's everybody else's fault. But when you have a look at how your role in failure, it's a bit of a wake-up call, let me tell you that. So couple that with somebody who has a partner who is non-supportive. And if you listen to last week's podcast, we talked about the importance of having a supportive partner. If you are on this journey with somebody who's not supporting you, and you have a fear of failure for whatever reason that is, or that's one of the reasons you're not moving forward, it's stopping you from believing in yourself, that is a massive handbrake on your journey. That is something you must address. So to move forward on a journey, You are going to have problems, and that's life, but you need to be able to overcome those and have the support around you and believe that you can move forward, because all failures will affect your self-belief. I actually was down in Tasmania last week. It was really awesome. I do some motivational speaking. There was a business conference on for women in tourism. They had a 2-day conference, and my segment in that was to talk on self-belief, and I talked on communication as well. So getting women to understand how self-belief holds you back, and the words and the language that we use that we don't even know we're using half of the time. It was awesome. The feedback I've had from my talk was great. I asked people to email me the change, the impact, what they will do differently. And that is the thing, owning the things that you need to change. I spoke to one lady afterwards, and she owns a winery. These are ladies with substantial businesses. Some of them were just incredible. But she said to me, I just can't sell. So her belief was that she couldn't sell. And she goes, I just feel like I'm pushing onto people. Well, you make a product. She's making wine to sell. She's making it to sell. But if she's not asking people for a sale, it's not going to sell. And before long, the people who are doing the same thing as her, other wineries, will ask for the sale, and then it will just fall away. So having that belief that you can do something, or changing that mindset from I can't do something to I can do something, because often when we say I can't do something, you're just reaffirming. It is a story you are telling yourself to be true. It's not true. It is a skill you need to learn. You need to learn how to sell. Would you like to try my wine? Would you like to buy my wine? Would you like to, can I give you this isn't a wine selling thing, but it was just an interesting conversation and a great scenario, or a great way for me to explain how what you believe is true. You see what you believe to be true, not you believe what you see to be true. So the belief that you currently hold will be what you notice. So if you think you're not good at something, well, then you'll notice when you're not good at something. If you think you can learn something, I believe I can learn anything. If you believe you can learn anything, well, then you can learn anything. So let's take this to you. So on your property development journey, do you believe that you can be a property developer? And that's on whatever level that is for you, whether it's like to leave your job and be a full-time property developer, or whether that is just to run a few property developments on the side while you're working, or however property development looks for you. Do you have that absolutely unshakable belief that you can achieve that? Is that something that you can do? Or is there a level of apprehension there? Is your level of, do you not believe that you can do that? And if it is, is it because you're afraid to? Is it because you've failed before? Is it because you don't know enough? What is the reason that's holding you back from achieving what it is that you want to do? Because in our community, we have so many people doing so well. We just put out in the newsletter this week It was the comment of the week for someone who wrote something really great about their journey with us, and we put it in the newsletter. And I just talked to our marketing this morning, and I said, how about we start a segment on, the people that are doing really well? Because there's some people doing some amazing stuff, and they were just ordinary people like you and I who decided to believe in their ability to be able to do something, and they've gone ahead and done it. I was texting one of our mentoring students last night, and I just said to her, wow, you're just so impressive. And, we just think you're amazing. And she was like, oh my God, that means so much. But you know what? Then she texted back a conversation she'd had this week, and how someone rang her for, what could I do with my property? And she's turned it into a joint venture. Like, this woman is just freaking amazing. She's just a regular woman who decided that she wanted this. She joined us last year, actually, at our masterclass. And we've actually got a masterclass coming up in, oh goodness me, when is that? It's October the 16th. So our masterclass is a free 4-hour sort of workshop that Bob runs for people who may be interested in learning more about property development, to see if it's something that they want to learn. Bob actually goes through the process of property development and teaches what you're going to need to know to do property development. It's a great way for you to decide whether it's something that you want to learn more about. Then we have the workshop that flows on after that, which is in November. So we've got our online workshop 12th, 13th, 14th of November. But if property development is something you're interested in doing, I definitely recommend jumping on our masterclass. It is free. And then Bob will tell you at the end about the workshop. But it's a great way for you to think, yes, this is something I want to do, because, life's not a dress rehearsal. And sometimes you need to commit to what it is that you want, but you need to be sure about it. How many courses and things have you signed up for and not done? I've got one that I signed up for and I haven't done it yet. And it's about writing, actually, being a creative writer. And I thought, I really want to do that course, but I signed up and never did it. Like, where's my level of commitment there? I've got all those busy words going on, and we are all human and we all have a lot going on. I sort of want to talk to you about people, just show examples where we've got people doing amazing things, and that level of commitment. It was about a year ago. We had a guy sign up to our membership, which we're relaunching soon, by the way. So don't go signing up. It's actually closed. But anyway, he signed up to the membership, and then he decided he wanted to work faster. So he had a call with me and he said, look, I think I want to do the online course. I'm like, yeah, great. So did the online course. And then we had a workshop in June, and he said, this was actually it was a year ago. I remember the call was in September. And then he said, I want to come to the workshop in June. And at the workshop, he signed up to mentoring. Okay. So from signing up to mentoring, that was in June this year. It is now September, 3 months later. Like, as of September, he's currently submitting plans to council this week. And him and I were going over the landscaping this week. I mean, how cool is that? And I think the thing is, his journey has been he just probably went through the perfect process where he decided to do it. Then I suppose he had to learn to meet and know us and get a level of trust. But what's interesting is, him and I even talked about it. Once you have that level of commitment, like, he committed to this journey, he has a clear plan, he knows what he wants to do, and he invested in himself. We do see people trying to do it, Google your answer. You can't Google property development. You can. But the other thing is, you can't believe what you read. Just because somebody responds to something doesn't mean that it's actually true. I had a request for a podcast topic the other day from somebody who said, could you do a podcast on the shonky replies you see on different social media platforms? Because often Bob will read one and he's just like, oh no. And you're like, oh no, well, that's somebody else's journey. It's not one of our people. We'll make sure we look after. But I suppose that what I'm saying is, when you invest in yourself, and that is how you move forward. And investing in yourself, it's not just investing in yourself with knowledge. That was a great example of him investing in himself with knowledge. It's also investing in yourself, in your health, in your mental health, in your physical health. It's a full investment in yourself. Look after your brain space. And we talk about listening to things that keep you inspired, but with a lot of people in lockdown, there is the impact of what that does to the way we think. So being really conscious and investing in what you put into your head or into your brain or allow into your head is vital. And that's more than just sometimes not watching the news because you don't want to see the negativity. Maybe it's around putting the right stuff in. I had a conversation with somebody and they were really working on putting the right stuff in. And he said to me that it took probably 10 days of making himself read, making himself feel grateful. Because remember, we might decide to do something and then we don't always remember to carry on doing it. And it took him that long. It was interesting. That was about the time that it took. He said, it's no longer a push for me to do it. It's like it's coming to me instinctively. I actually am grateful. I actually do feel a lot happier in myself, which is fantastic. So it is vital that you invest in yourself in more than just knowledge and what you need to learn for your property development, but invest in your headspace, invest in or control what goes into there. Another thing when it comes to self-belief is sometimes we overthink things. We get caught on the little stuff and we don't move forward. And that's really common. And especially if you are lacking a bit of self-belief, you'll let other things become a distraction and they become more important, become hyper-focused on things. And somebody else I was working with recently had the same thing. They felt they were just really stuck on the small stuff. And I just in the end called them out. I'm like, hey, mate, stop it. Just start taking action. Like, it was actually go find a bloomin' site. I just said, it's time. Stop it. I called him out. Anyway, it changed everything for him. We talked again this week and he said to me, oh my goodness, that was the best thing you could have ever done. Sometimes you get so caught, and this might be happening to you right now. Have a think about it. Are you just becoming caught in detail and rubbish that's holding you up and doesn't really matter? Because if that's the case, stop it. Just think, okay, to move forward, I need to do X. What is it that you need to do? And break that down into something, really minute and go do that minute thing. So you start gaining traction and moving forward, because the more you feel yourself progress, the better your self-belief will become. I'm going to say that again. The more you feel yourself progress, even in the smallest way, the better your self-belief builds and becomes. So I've talked about, backing yourself and investing in yourself. And I've also talked about don't let the details stop you. Don't become caught up in stuff that doesn't matter. But for some people, and this could be you don't gain traction because it's not fast enough. And, that's probably one of the things that this is something that I would struggle with. I like results. If you read the email last week that we put out, it was like, I want it all and I want it now. That Queen song is my theme song. I like things to be fast moving. And by the way I speak fast. So if you're one of those people, that can slow down your traction and that will affect your self-belief, because when you're not gaining traction, then you start believing that you can't. So if things not happening fast enough is something that affects you need to look at what can you do to make things happen faster. What other things can you do? You may be in lockdown and there are things that are stopping you, but there will still be things that you can do. So what are they? And even the small things, like I just said, working on what's going into your head will make a massive impact. But what can you learn? What course can you go back over? Who can you reach out to? I just mentioned our free masterclass. Like, what are the things that can make you feel like you're still on your property journey and you are taking action? And then another one is that might affect some people, which will affect your level of self-belief, is if you become distracted. Are you on track? You really want to get more into property developing, and then you just become distracted with other things. Like, you start gaining a little bit of traction and then someone says to me, hey, come sell Amway, or, let's go do shares, or, whatever, you want to. And then other things take up a bit of time, but you become distracted from those as well. So you never end up gaining traction in anything. So by really putting in some good habits here, this is how we stop that one. And I'm going to come to the habits just at the end of this podcast. Another problem that you might have that affects your self-belief, or that your self-belief is making you do or sort of pushing you to do, is allowing other people's problems to become yours, or other people's things that they need to be more important than yours. That happens so often. And I see that, that someone's on a journey and then because they don't quite believe that they can do it, they just find reasons. And the reasons will be that I have to do something else for somebody else, and often we use the time issue for that. If we've got no time because we haven't prioritized what we want and need. So if you're one of those people, we have to look out for that. A way to work around or to implement better habits that will help improve your self-belief, like I said, is there are many ways. One is journaling. Like, journal what you have succeeded in the past. So you could write down all the things that are great that you've done and have that wow factor. It's like, wow, I've done that. I can do other stuff. It's also maybe if you have that unsupportive partner, like we talked about last week, talking with them about how that's impacting you and how you need them behind you. And the other thing is investing in your head, like reading. And when I say invest, like if you're audio like myself, I just use audiobooks. I would go to the gym with an audiobook, and if I need to feel that level of, yeah, I got this. So, whereas if it's something like that you need to work on, then do it. If you find that you're getting distracted and other things are taking over, or if you can't commit to doing something, I love the idea of a calendar, and it does work. Using a calendar and deciding when and where you're going to do something. So maybe that you're going to exercise, it may be that you're going to spend 2 hours a day going back over your property education or whatever it is that you're doing. But whatever that you want to implement, and it doesn't have to be every day, but you decide when it is. It could be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It could be every day of the week, whatever. And maybe this is even implementing meditation. I don't know. Just whatever it is for you. What you need to do is decide that it's okay to miss it once. It is okay to miss things once. We're human. We stuff up. Crikey, that's normal. But make a commitment to you that you won't miss twice. That will make a massive difference. It's like, yeah, I'm human. I can miss once, but I won't miss twice. And the goal would be not to miss twice in a row. So you can set yourself up by having better habits, by implementing little things that, those little things, remember, like what I say, is that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. That is one step. And, to move a mountain, you just start one rock at a time. All of those things, it's just by the small little steps that you take that are positive, they will help build not only your rate of success, but help build that level of self-belief that you have in what you can achieve. Okay, so I think I've covered enough there. Hopefully I've left you feeling like you're normal if you have a level of self-belief, because we all do in one or more areas of our life. That's normal. We struggle with stuff. But when it comes to your property development journey, what can you do to start building that level of belief that, yeah, I can do this? And is it reach out to a coach? Is it have a conversation with me? I do amazing things with the people I work with. Now, hands up, I'm good at what I do. But maybe it is, investing in yourself. Maybe you need to, and if it's not me, well, maybe there's somebody else that can help you. You need to decide if you want something. You have to go and do everything you can to get it. So we've got our free masterclass coming up on Saturday, October the 16th. Join us for that. Just maybe to feel invigorated. And I'll tell Bob he needs to do a deal or no deal in there. People love those. But also he'll take you through the process, and you can see if this is something you really want to get involved in. Maybe you need to step up from renovating or whatever it is for you. And then we have our 3-day workshop on the 12th, 13th and 14th of November, of which we do have an early bird special on right now. It's a little bit hard. The workshop you pay for, but the masterclass is free. So there is really good content in the masterclass. So it's worth coming and seeing if this is something you want to get into, or feeling reinvigorated, or, just keeping up with that property knowledge. Bob's amazing. And then if it's something you do, it's time to invest in yourself, well, you'll be able to come to the online workshop. All right. Well, I think that's about it from me. If you're struggling on your property development journey, I hope I've ticked off a few things that would be useful for you. And I'll look forward to chatting with you. Oh, remember, this week I am giving away a free coaching session. And so if you would like to win that coaching session, it's not with an upsell, it's just a straight up coaching session to anybody who is feeling a bit stuck and would like to have a conversation about their next move, or how they can improve, or gaining traction, or anything perhaps that I've talked about today. You're welcome to reach out to me. You can send me an email, hilary@propertymastermind.com.au, and I'll just choose somebody who emailed in. I've given away a few already, and I know that's made a difference for those people. So feel free to reach out. You could be the lucky winner of a great session with me. And lastly, if you've enjoyed the topic today, please feel free to share it with somebody who you think might get a little bit out of it. And also comment, share, all those good positive things. You can follow us on YouTube if you like. We've got a YouTube channel, or Apple or Spotify. All right. I'll catch you soon. See you next week.